Well, hello there, and welcome to Section 31. My name is Dan Hammond, and with me is Rogue Schindler. We're here to discuss on this episode number 309 uh, that which went on at Origins this year. Thank you for joining me, Rogue.
I am excited to be here, which I have not been, and I was not this weekend, sadly. But I had excitement of my own, and we did. I'm sure you saw. We sent a little message to the Club Jade celebration, uh, but hopefully we'll get to catch up next time. How was it?
Uh, I had a very good time. I don't think there. It's funny because I had an email exchange with Daniel Madison earlier today. He said, "Hey, I hope you had a great time." And I wrote back, "Yeah, I did have a great time." I got all these complaints though. I think it's because I'm getting old. But uh, so we took the whole family. It was me, my wife, and the two kids, and so that meant the amount of gaming was not as high as it has been in the past.
Sure.
Couple that with usually when I'm going to Origins, a couple of months ago, uh, you have already made an itinerary right, of all the role playing games and
Yeah, yeah.
the schedule and all this other stuff. And I we even like a week or two before we left, we realized that Debbie hadn't gotten her badge yet. So she'd logged in, and we were gonna look at the schedule of events so that we can get Cordelia signed up for that My Little Pony race and the Pixie Hollow, whatever, because she had a great time
Sure.
last year. And registration was already cut off because it was too close to the convention.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, unfortunately, that meant the two of them had to stand in a very long line to get tickets. But
Yeah.
she was able to get in. She had a good time, so that worked out.
Good.
But coupled those two things together, bringing a family along and not having an itinerary beforehand, I had one morning, pretty much, of gaming. We walked around the con floor a bunch. That was nice. We did a bunch of demos, and, kids games and things. We did a lot of that on Sunday. But as far as going to a con and gaming, probably the lightest I think I've done since back in the day. No, even back in the day, we were Decipher volunteers, so we gamed a lot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So maybe the lightest. We'll see. We'll see how it went.
It's funny you mentioned that because I thought of it when they announced the event pages going up, and I was like, do I want to go through and see what there is and maybe make suggestions or just see if people will go see stuff so I can, live vicariously through them? Or do I just, and I think I was so busy and coupled with the fact that I was like, I didn't want to get my hopes up about it. I was like, oh, this really cool thing is happening and it's never going to happen again and I'm going to miss it. I'm like, I don't want to read that. I'm just going to pass. So
yeah.
I almost had second thoughts this weekend about just to look and see what was going on and see what you might be playing in. So now I'm kind of bummed that I was.
No. I mean, well, to go over you realize why it was not terrible. Anyway, later on, my
Sure.
Saturday, the wife and kids went to the parade, and they had to leave at like 8 in the morning, and they marched until like 1 o'clock in the hot sun, and it was terrible. They had a
Oh
great
wow.
time. They had a wonderful time, spectacular time. It was wonderful time. I, on the other hand, spent the morning at the Pathfinder ACG table. I got
Nice.
our friend Eric. You remember Eric, the
Yeah,
guy
I
with the
do.
ponytail? Yeah. So I walked by a couple of times before that day, and I saw him. I think on Friday I stopped finally. I was trying to get somewhere else, so I was like, I gotta stop in. So I stopped in and said, "Hey, Eric," and he remembered me once I got close enough that he could see me, and it didn't help that there was so. You recall where they were last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not the case this time.
Oh
Um,
really?
yeah, there was a lot of construction going on, and there will be a lot of construction going on next year as well. They have that little monster thing as the mascot for Origins. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this year he was plastered everywhere with a hard hat on, because it was
Oh wow.
seriously the food court downstairs. All the tables and chairs, everything was ripped out completely. A few of the things around the perimeter were open.
What?
Yeah, they're rebuilding everything. Upstairs, that little shortcut when you go just to the right of the bar, and you just walk right to the convention center.
Yeah, yeah.
That was closed. Now you had to go to the left of the bar and out and around all the gaming areas over there where they had the Pathfinder
Yeah.
stuff set up and all that stuff. Had to go up out and around that way to get to get around the closed off section, and then you go to the convention center. The far end of the convention center was completely closed up. You couldn't walk out, the other side like you can. So you can walk on one side, one out the other. It's just closed off. There was just an end,
Oh,
and
geez.
the far hall was closed off as well. So I'm not sure where they had the TCG stuff and the CCG stuff. It might have been upstairs. I saw a sign that said Pokemon tournaments upstairs, or Yu-Gi-Oh or something upstairs. But the once again the dealer's floor spilled into the game hall, so that's where Mayfair was and a couple other vendors were out there. But there was no Pathfinder stuff out there at all. It was all moved upstairs, right outside the hallways to the other gaming stuff, like the RPG rooms that we played before, where we played Avatar and
Oh, okay.
So there were tables right out there. They had taken over that area, so they had the Pathfinder gaming stuff for RPGs, and then right around the corner they had the Pathfinder ACG stuff.
Well, that's convenient.
Great. Yeah, it was great. It was convenient for the volunteers because they were just running. Actually, they only sent one volunteer, but she was running back and forth to things. Yeah, it was great.
Man, that would have been great for us last year when we were running back and forth trying to squeeze in as many ACG games between RPG games as possible.
It was literally at the bottom of the elevator and around the corner. It was perfect.
That's so nice.
Yeah. But this year it made me think about it every time I walk by it.
Right, because it's on your way every time you want to go to the floor.
Exactly. And Eric was there literally every time we walked by. So to rewind, we flew in, we took a red eye late Tuesday night, and we had uneventful flights on the way there, and we got in Wednesday morning and went to check in, and there was no room for us because they didn't expect us to check in until Thursday.
What?
Yeah. So somehow between our the email chain and the people at the Hyatt, our reservation was shifted one day. So they were expecting us to arrive on Thursday and stay until Monday. That was not the case. But they were able to put us up in a room. You know how they have like a suite is like the big open area with kind of the big tall table, and then there's a couch and a TV, and then there's a door that goes off to a king room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the junior suite is what we've had for the past for our group. Well, they said, okay, what we can do is we can give you the lounge for one of those junior suites. It'll have a fold-out bed, so whatever, and we can roll a couple rollaways in there for all four of you.
Wow.
And temporary, and then your room, which is adjacent to the suite, will be available. When we wanted you to check in. Right now it's occupied. That's why we can't give you your room. So I said, all right, it's on the same floor. It's just down the way. We'll take it. And it was actually bed for a fold-out bed. It was comfortable enough. But what was nice is instead of having a cramped hotel room with two rollaway kids' beds right next to it, so you can't walk anywhere, we were able to put them on the other side of the suite. So they were way over there. So that was actually kind of nice.
Can we just stay here?
Well, oddly enough, the next day when we went down to check out and check in again, we went through all this rigmarole. Okay, the room's available. We can move you over. We can do this and that. Debbie says, "Can we move? We're just going to move the rollaways ourselves." And there was something about, no, we really can't tell you to do that because it's not safe. But anyway, after all of that, and they were going to give us new keys and everything, I said, "Can we just, as you said, can we just stay in that room? I mean, is that possible? I mean, can we get what would the rate be?" She said, "Well, since it's not a real room, we'd have to give it to you at a reduced rate."
Okay.
And I said, "Well, I think we could deal with that because it is kind of nice to have the kids over there and have plenty of space to have all our stuff." And she said, "Okay, yeah, we'll do that, and we'll go ahead and discount your first night since you already paid that in advance." So not only did we get a much bigger room with a slightly more uncomfortable bed, who cares, a full refrigerator, and all that for, instead of whatever it was $99 a night.
For less than a room. That's awesome.
I would almost think about requesting that next year.
Yeah, we had a similar situation at Dragon Con one year where we got they called it the Ambassador Suite. which it was just like it was kind of like a studio suite. Like the bed was in the room, but they were like, "We're really sorry," and we're like, "No hell!" There was a literal hallway to get into it, and that entire hallway was a closet for us at Dragon Con.
Wow, that must have been rough.
So we're like, "Yeah, could you? Well, it's fine. We'll take that. Could you send up about 30 hangers?"
Perfect.
So yeah, big open room. I could totally see being an amazing advantage at a con. And have the rollaways separate, kind of.
Yeah. No, it was
so
it
great.
was, and Dominic had room to go run around in circles around the table and run from one side to the other. It really ended up being nice. We actually took the big chairs out and sent them over to the suite because more big chairs the merrier, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was thinking about using the room as a backup suite in case it got too loud and too crowded over there. We
Sure.
could fall back to it, but that never really happened. Our group wasn't too huge this year. But anyway, so the room worked out okay, even though it wasn't what we were expecting. That's fine. We took it. I think we wandered around on Wednesday. We went to pick up badges and try to get into the room, trying to get into the events, and then we decided what we wanted to grab for dinner. So we wandered down to the Mongolian barbecue down the way, and I ate way too much food, which was fantastic. We met some friends of ours, and I think Sean and who else joined us that first night? Someone else, and Elizabeth was there. So it was a great time. Had a good dinner, and then went back, and since we had the red eye, we pretty much crashed. Didn't do very much that night. We had planned to go shopping for the suite, but it was too late, and the suite wasn't going to be open, so we just which was great. So it was a good start for the next day. Got up, went out to the con, did some shopping, ran out to the grocery store and got supplies for the party, alcohol and chips and all the stuff that we usually get for the suite.
Sure.
Set up the bar. That was great. And wandered around the con floor. Con floor was, I want to say it's about the same size as it was last year, which is to say maybe about a third as the size of the Gen Con floor, but it felt like it was spread out a little bit more. You're not tight through corners and things. Yeah. There was at least one or two notable absences I saw. Game Science was there. Kaplow Games were there. Those are the two dice manufacturers.
Right.
Crystal Castle was there, but no Chessex.
What?
Yeah, usually they got at least two spots, and there was no.
Yeah, they usually have two booths.
Yeah, and I went there on Thursday specifically looking for dice because I had to make the finishing touches for the game, right?
Right. Yeah, the last set.
Yeah, I was disappointed. So, I mean, we wandered one end of the con to the other, and could not find it. And finally, I looked it up, and it is not there. No booth.
That's weird.
Yeah, that was.
Oh man, that's disappointing.
Yeah. What I really wanted to find was there's a vendor I found online that called indentedblankdice.com or something like that. And the last post on their blog was that, hey, we're coming to Gen Con 2015. Look for us. We'll be there. I was hoping to find them or the company that they went with at either Origins this year or Gen Con, and I haven't found either one in the vendor list. So I might see if I can find some contact information, because the dice that I had made for this game, did we talk about this last time? When you roll them, the printouts, even though they're on a laser paper, they're coming off the faces. But
right.
If you get this indented dice, the face is indented down a little bit, so you don't actually roll on the printout, which would be nice. So I'm going to look for that. Hopefully we'll get that set up before next time. Yeah, let's see. What was next? Friday night we went out for our nice dinner that we usually do, and it was spectacular. I think I ate the steak and lobster and all the fishes and all the sides, and it was amazing. Had great food with great friends, great food, good time. And so Thursday night, Wednesday night. I think I skipped a night. No, Wednesday night we went to the to the Mongolian barbecue, and you get a bowl and you fill it up, and if you get a second bowl, it's like $3. And then you can eat as many bowls as you want. So I had like 3 bowls, and then I didn't eat anything until we went to dinner the next night. And then since that was such a big meal, I didn't eat anything again on Friday until we went out to dinner, which was games night.
Oh my God.
Which happened to be at the Mongolian barbecue place again. So I did the same thing again, and by that time, I think my stomach was really upset with me because,
like, hey, knock it off.
well, I didn't. I drink a lot of water during the day, and I didn't feel terribly hungry, and I had a good dinner, and that was fine. The thing about the Mongolian barbecue, right? You fill up a bowl of like raw meat and raw vegetables, and you take it up and they cook it, and then you eat it. But the path you take from going to the raw meat station and then going to the cooking station and then going to your eating station, your hands are still the same. And my theory is that I must have touched something that I shouldn't have that didn't get cooked, and then I ate it because all day Saturday was not a good day. Not a good day.
Oh no!
It was Dan has been poisoned, and yeah. So as I mentioned, that was the day they went to the parade, and I got up and played ACG for hours. I played through all 4 scenarios, which was amazing. I only had to get up and sprint twice, but I made it through.
Oh.
And the 4 scenarios were a lot of fun. I sat down with Eric, and he said we could probably get to 4 because it's just been released. All of them have been released. And if you got a character, and I'm thinking, well, I got 2 or 3 characters. What are the odds that one is exactly the right level? And sure enough, Lilian Rodillo, she was exactly the right level. We stopped at the right time last year, so we chatted a bit about going from the Path of the Righteous to whatever the Path of the Rune Lords would be. If there was any carryover or anything I need to do, and he said, no, the only thing you don't get is your epic path. So kind of hosed there, but she was still fine. I mean, it wasn't like I had gotten all those die bumps from the previous 2, so I felt like I was skilled up and I had some pretty good stuff. So we played the first adventure, we played the second adventure, and he said, okay, the third adventure is awful, so let's play the fourth adventure.
Skip to the end.
Skip to the end. So we skipped to the end, and then we still had time. It was like we started. I got there at like 9:30. He said I usually start at 9:30. Okay, so we started at 10. We played until like 12:30. I felt like I should have thrown down another token because 2 hours is a credit, right?
Right.
We got through all 3, and then we started the 4th just before noon, and we managed to finish that. It was yeah, it was great. Well, there were only 2 of us playing, so there's only
that helps a lot.
Yeah, you close them pretty quick. It's 4 sites and locations, and so you remember Rodillo's thing, right? You play a spell, you get to look at the bottom card if it's a spell, it goes in your hand,
right?
And then you put that card on the bottom if you recharge it. So I had 2 auguries, right?
Yeah.
So you can look at basically every card in the deck if you know that there's only one thing there, right? Or it doesn't matter. You can just keep playing them over and over again. So it's pretty much, all right, well, monster, I'll just put it on top and then close it. Monster, I'll put it on top and close it. All right, move on to the next one. It was kind of brokenish. That was fun. So there was one, I think I mentioned it in an email, one of the adventures, everyone, you put all the sites, in locations in a circle, and whoever goes first, on their turn, everyone shifts clockwise, and you can only move counterclockwise. So you're going around the table, and you got to try to close things in whatever order. And if you end your turn at the same location as somebody else, you take D4 plus something mental damage or something.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was just weird flying around. It would have been a lot worse with 6 players or 5 or 4 players, but with 2 players, it was just kind of dancing a little bit, and it worked out. But the last scenario that we went back with again was the worst because they said, okay, make sure your deck list is complete. I'm like, okay, write everything down. Okay, draw your opening hand. All right, set those aside, and then give me your deck because that's what we were going to build the location deck with.
What?
All of your cards become the location deck, and then you fill your deck with random cards from the box. Not necessarily the same level, just random junk from the box, and you
Oh
play
my
with.
god.
So you got your opening hand. So you got at least one of your things that your
Oh
preferred card type.
man.
Everything else is hidden somewhere, and you got to try to get it back. Uh, Now, I thought my paranoia was that you weren't going to get anything back if you didn't earn it back. But he said, no,
Right.
you get to rebuild your deck afterward. But for this scenario, you're host. So,
Wow.
yeah, all your other cards get set aside, and you have to build with what you've got. And then as you encounter things, if you acquire it, great, it goes in your hand. If you don't, you set it aside again. And then later, after you've finished, you've closed everything, you can rebuild your deck with everything that you used to have and anything you gained. But you can't rebuild your deck. You can't add your card pool is not what you use to rebuild your deck. That has to go back in the box. It seemed needlessly complicated.
Yeah, I can only imagine doing that with like 6 players.
Yeah, it was. The bookkeeping was annoying, but it was an interesting way of handicapping your deck, of playing just with
Sure.
mostly basic stuff. But you're all powered up, so it was kind of cool.
Man, all I can think of is that new I don't know if you how many of the new character decks you've looked at, but there is a guy in the Inquisitor box who is all of his powers are kind of but if you have his named weapon, which is he is the owner of, so it's like a basic card for him, and it comes in the box, then that's really, really good. I'm like, oh, I didn't draw my thing, and now it's going to get shuffled away, and now none of my powers work for the rest of the game.
Wow. No, I wasn't playing. I didn't see that guy. That would be pretty rough. The Eric was playing a different Inquisitor who turns everything into a wisdom check and is just amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I didn't see any downside to that. But anyway, that was a few hours of gaming. I had a great time then. We went on. I kind of recovered a bit for the remainder of the day. I got some drugs and I felt better. It was party in the suite, and then I think I crashed with the kids because I could not stand upright anymore. But the previous night was games night, as I said, and we played a bunch of the escape game that worked out really well. The only problem was the phone speaker was not strong, and it was not strong enough, and I should have brought some external speaker for it. It was kind of hard to hear over the rollicking, party going on
Sure.
around us.
The din of a restaurant
Yeah.
and people.
Well, no, we got kicked out of the restaurant. We went back to the suite, and there was TV blaring and people, yelling and conversations and all kinds of stuff going on. So, whatever. Those that were nearby had fun, and the audio cues that you put in were just loud enough to hear, but the ambient background noise and the tense noise as you coming up to time, that was kind of lost. So
That's too bad.
yeah, a little disappointing. But rave reviews all around for those who could hear the music and play the game. So looking forward to trying that again with our local Friday night game group, and maybe in a quieter room. Let's see. So I made a bit of a recovery on Sunday. I still didn't eat very much because I was still feeling a little down. But we wandered around the con floor again. I did a couple of demos. I did see one of the normal Troll and Toad, I think, they had their big displays full of starters. There was there's a lot more Lord of the Rings this year, I think, than I've ever seen. A lot of sets that I never pulled any packs from. Some things from the end they just had boxes out of. I didn't see any Star Wars this year, but they just had the normal, rules of acquisition. They had Reflections, I think, for $75 a box, which is. It wasn't Reflections 2. It was Reflections 1E, which is getting close. I thought, well, all right, $75 a box. That means we can charge $10, and we can cover it with an 8-person event. And I thought,
yeah.
8-person events are hard to come by these days, so it's probably closer to $20 entrance fee, and then we get it covered. It's got to come down another 10 or $15 before we can do that again.
Well, with Reflections, though, you're probably going to have to supplement that with something else. So you figure you'd get 2 tournaments out of the box, and you could split the cost that way.
Yeah, fair enough. That would be pretty good. They had the standard starters and triple starters that seem to be going on forever. And I pre-ordered something from the Kenzer booth. I ordered the Monster Manual, the Hacklopedia of Beasts Mark II, Volume 2. So that'll be added to the library. In addition, they had several pre-made modules that kind of went, these are for characters levels 1 to 3, these are 3 to 5, these are 5 to 7, and these are 10 to 15. So they look really interesting, kind of piqued my curiosity. I've been thinking about, if Jesse's not going to be able to run Hackmaster again, I'm going to finish the Star Wars story arc and then let Charlie run his thing, and then maybe we'll get back into Hackmaster again. Because, man, I want to run Hackmaster again.
All right, cool.
Yeah. I had a good time wandering the floor. I didn't see any of the, the Star Trek locals that we usually see. Altoid or any of the other guys locally, but we didn't have an event, and it's kind of sad to see all the tables and chairs ripped out from where we had all those tournaments downstairs.
Yeah, that was a bummer. That food court was a great mustering spot to meet people off the con or outside the con, and to go and refuel. It was right next to all the RPG stuff. That was fantastic.
Yeah, I think one of aside from not getting very much, the other disappointing thing is I don't think I ate at the market, North Market, once.
I didn't hear you say you went to North Market at all. That's wow.
I mean, we wandered
no Jenny's.
We wandered over there a few times, but man, I just couldn't do it between being sick and eating too much for dinner. I don't think I had lunch a single day, so we didn't do it.
Wow.
The kids got pizza a few times. Debbie had some, but she had plenty of Polish. She had got her annual Polish fix, right? But yeah, we had really good flights back. We made it in really late Sunday night, but overall had a great time. Saw a lot of friends. Oh yeah, one last thing. So the flight out was okay, older plane. The flight back, we did the jump from Columbus to Dallas and then Dallas to San Diego. That Dallas to San Diego flight was a modern plane with the screens in the back everywhere. And I finally got to watch Ant-Man.
Oh, nice! How'd you enjoy it?
It was great. Had a good time. I like the way. So I have no idea what the character was, other than it being the butt of jokes. When they were saying, "Hey, we're going to do the Avengers movie. Maybe we're going to get Ant-Man." Ooh. But no, wow. It was a great ride. Funny all the way through.
I thought it was way better than I was expecting it to be.
Yeah. I want to say I went into Guardians of the Galaxy with very low expectations, and it was great. Had a great time. It's been long enough that the expectations went down that low again, and I was pleasantly surprised once again. Yeah, it was great. The story was good. The effects made sense. I don't want to say comic book physics all matched up. The shrinking and growing was all fun. They made great use of that, and now I got the backstory to get the joke in the Avengers movie.
Civil War, yeah.
Civil War. Sorry, not quite Avengers, but
pretty close though.
Yeah. No, it was great. I had a good time, and it made the flight just go by like that. So that was perfect.
Oh, I bet. That's a great that one, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's definitely a great plane movie. Just completely forget that you're stuffed into a tin can flying at high speeds. But
yeah, there was one other thing. One other thing I picked up at Origins, and that is the 2016 Origins die, which I picked up since there were 4 of us with badges. I got 4 of these, so I'll put that aside and bring it to you next time I see you.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
And it's a perfect.
Cool.
This is probably the best looking die that they've made. It's a nice bluish green color. I really like it. One of my favorites. When I arrived, I did not see the box that I was expecting on my front doorstep. It was unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever. Either way, it was in the mailbox. There was enough room for it. So this morning, after I dropped the kids off, came back, got to work with the cutting machine and the markers and the backers, and I put together the Continentals promos for what's going on later this week in Orlando. So I have here a couple of them. I think this one was spoiled on the Facebook page. Can you see that?
Cardassian Outpost. Ah, because it's in Cardassia.
Yeah, yeah. There's a similarly themed card for TUI, but I don't know if it's been spoiled yet, so I don't want to spoil it. This is the 1E card, or sorry, this is the Tribbles card. It is a 1000 Famine.
Is that an animated series thing?
No, it looks it. So the copy or the story on the top right is Voyager. So it being Famine, I'm guessing it's maybe Ocampa or something like that. It looks kind of. You know what it reminds me of is the Mos Espa slave warrens from episode 1.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like the sandy dune kind of looking things with tribbles all over it.
All right.
There you go. Like I said, the 2E version.
Oh yeah. The people, the Kazon group on Ocampa were starving or something. That's like famine-y. Sure. Okay. Cool.
So I'm sliding those into the archive binder right after Tomalak and right after the 1000 Sabotage that were the regional championships. And I'll let the 2E one go and be spoiled whenever that is. But like I said, it's similarly themed from the 1E card, if you can figure that out.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that was Origins. Is there anything else we want to chat about or anything I skipped over?
Well, I don't know if, I assume they probably had some at Origins, it being on the right day, but here at home and across the nation, it was Free RPG Day. And I went and picked up my ACG Pathfinder Tup, which is this year's promo Goblin character. If you are into the ACG and you were familiar with their promo cards, you know that they put out a new promo Goblin character to play. There it is. You got it. The Pyromancer.
So they told me as we were sitting there, they said it's Free RPG Day, but since you guys are all here and not at a local store, and if you were at a local store, they'd be closed because they're all here. We'll just hand them out to you now. So
nice.
That was nice. Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's not a pyromancer. He's a pyromaniac.
He's probably got my favorite role name. Did you crack it open already?
The Bale Flame of Naughtiness.
Bale Flame of Naughtiness. Yes, that was pretty funny.
I'm tickled by the power that lets you give somebody a +4 to any check, but then everybody has to take a D4 damage. Here, let me help you with fire.
All right, and they also gave out some of these blessings of Trendalev.
Ooh.
From last year's season of something. They're from Wrath, but they're kind of cool. There was one other bit that Eric was telling me about. You know how, and this is for Gen Con and for the ACG. You know how for the Pathfinder event they have that big huge thing where everyone's results affect the story?
Yes.
Well, this year they're also going to have the ACG affect the story. Somehow.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I will report back on that.
I look forward to hearing about it. Well, that sounds really cool, and I'm glad that you were able to go and all the kids were able to go, make it a family affair. I'm hoping that we can do something similar next year, but no guarantees yet. Looking forward to hearing your Gen Con report. once it comes back. But in the meantime, we'll have to settle for, I guess, do another audio story.
Yeah.
Now that
yeah,
we're
sounds like a plan.
back.
I think the logistics of Stampede is what we were on next.
Sure.
All
I
right.
have no idea.
I think that's the next one, so we'll talk about that. The
All right,
logistics
cool.
of Stampede.
Well, thanks for bringing all that info back from Origins. That's awesome. And now I feel like I went, which is cool. So I promise, whether I go or not, I will totally bust out the event grid next year so I can see all the things that I would have liked to have gone to.
The game master who did the Battlestar Galactica and was it Serenity? Yeah, that guy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Saw him in the hallway, waved at him, didn't recognize me, but I saw him, so he was there.
Yeah, matinee games. I definitely would go back to them in a heartbeat. And I was following them on Facebook. It seemed like all of their events went really well. All of their GMs commiserated Sunday and said that they had fantastic players all week. So I'm sad to have not been among them and dragging down the average, but I'm glad that they went well, and I look forward to seeing them again soon. So thanks for that intel. I think we're is that about it this week?
I think so. Yeah, I think.
All right, cool. That's all our intelligence for this week, though. I will look forward to giving some more soon. Hopefully, we'll talk about Continentals and of course our audio recording next week. So in the meantime, I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I will draw to end. Oh, the family room was terrible this year.